With Catalans though,
I can't wait.
7 rounds in, they were up second on the table. They were. I can't remember if they beat St Helens or there was that early game, which was an amazing game. They just seem to have fallen apart, and then you see the Sam Tomkins thing, and there's numerous comments, interviews that he did. He was playing. His knees were done. He was going to retire.
Is that purely about leadership? Because the one
I
thing
think it's very desperate. For help.
They've just released 3 players for disciplinary reasons. For the flimsy, and I said this last week, so I'm not going back on it. For when we see other players in Super League and what they've done in the past, for the flimsiest of disciplinary reasons.
You can argue it was flimsy, or you can argue it's a
lack of
club
respect
that's enforcing its standards. Other clubs don't have standards or don't have as high standards. The interesting thing with that was, one was a younger player I've never heard of. I don't even know if he's ever played in Super League.
Came from Hull.
Okay. Takiaho, who'd not played all this year and has been a terrible signing for them, considering what he did with the Roosters. I mean, he just seems to spend force. And Nicarima, who started very well, showed some progress, and then had a hamstring injury. Yeah.
And now they're bringing in more players. It's almost as if they freed up some cup space.
The Jared Wallace thing, that seemingly come from nowhere. Obviously, Luke Keary.
Was he not playing every week with the Dolphins?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, the Dolphins do have a very, very good pack of experienced internationals. But I mean, Wallace was playing for Queensland not that long ago, and I don't think he's too old. I think
32.
Okay, that's older than I thought he was. There you go. So that's the only issue. And I think the other thing with Luke Keary, fantastic career, huge problems with concussion. He'd already retired. Yeah. So has he got enough left in the tank?
Well, I think they're hoping he's going to be a Mitchell Pearce, because the one thing they've lost is leadership.
Mitchell Pearce didn't retire and then come out and retired. He had issues at the Knights with texting someone's girlfriend that he shouldn't have been. But anyway, that's another story. And then you come to Sam Tomkins.
But I think Sam coming back, I think he will be fit. He wouldn't be able to do it if he wasn't at a level of fitness. But I think it's leadership. The one thing they were lacking, Michael McAlorum now going to Hull KR.
Again, that's surprising. Bizarre. Yeah, that's surprising.
But that's another very experienced, spine player that isn't going to be there. I just think that they need the insurance of a Tomkins there. Well, Tom Johnson, though, may not play again this year.
Well, I think they've missed Tomkins, they've missed Pearce, and they've missed May.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought at the start of the year. And first 7 games, I was like, well, I was wrong again. It seems to have maybe turned a bit of full circle because maybe Artem Org and Cesar Rouge aren't up to it week in, week out. Yeah. Hopefully they are later on, or maybe they won't be. Jordan Abdul, fantastic player. He's overweight and he picks up a lot of injuries, and I think he's one of those players that, with all due fairness of being kind and, got weight issues myself, but I'm not a professional athlete, Are you not? No. Have you seen me play? No. Terrible. But, yeah, and I think Teo Farge has probably not been as dynamic or as...
Didn't play yesterday.
Yeah. Well, he's another player who's had many injury issues the last 3 years. So I think there has been poor recruitment from Catalans.
I do think they've got some good young French players coming through.
They have, but they're not ready to play week in, week out. No.
And that's why I think Tomkins is back, to marshal the team from the back. The only thing I really don't understand is presumably his theatre tour's been cancelled.
Are they going to change the documentary?
How can it be? Firstly, he ain't going to be able to come over if he's playing, and secondly, he hasn't retired.
Well,
2 words. Jamie Peacock?
Well,
is it going to be like that?
At least he can't get relegated, can he? That's the one thing. He can't. He doesn't have to close down a drop goal from what's his name.
Is he still going to be on Sky as well? Is he just going
he said so. Yeah, he said
no. But after a game, he'll just throw on a suit, a bit sweaty, and I found it quite bizarre that news.
Chris thinks because he's been away for so long in relative terms, he looks a lot smaller now in the way. I mean, haven't yet seen him in the kit, but he might be too small to me in Super League. If you're an opposing coach, knowing he's got dodgy knees, what are you going to be saying?
I think again because of the knowledge he's got and the position he's playing in, he will be protected. If he isn't protected, there's something seriously wrong. But I think that is you playing a dinner suit at the back.
But you wouldn't be if you're the other team. You won't be prepared. You'll be hit him in the knees. You'll be pressure.
You've got to get to him. I don't think he's going to be.
He'll be returning the ball though. Yeah. High kick comes up.
I think you might find that the wingers are getting a lot of the passes.
I don't know. I think if I was the coach instructing my halves to kick high on my kick chase to,
I'd be telling Tom Davis when he catches the kick, be at his side so he can give you the ball.
Yeah, and if he takes the ball out the line, then you hit him as hard legally as you're able to do.
I don't think he'll be taking the ball to the line.
I think it's a very
it's
odd
expediency. I think.
Yeah, it's a very odd.
But they need leaders.
Yeah.
That game against Castleford showed exactly why they haven't got enough leaders. Because at 18-all, they should have found a way to close that game out, and they didn't have anybody that either put them in a position where they could or decided, right, when we're in possession, we're going to end this on that point.
Well, I think there's
Cass exploited it. Tex Hoy did brilliantly.
Yeah, the other element, obviously, I wrote today that Catalans are, bidding to sign Lock and Lamb, and I think that goes to show that they've recognised they need some depth in those playmaking positions because they don't have them.